The campaign could have many layers. It's like an Air Force, Army and Navy. So you could see our what we were doing in 2014 and what we would have done. Well, it could be akin to what Air Force does. You just go bombard, create an environment for army to move in. If data is cheap, there is greater degree of acceptability for short videos and communicate with vast majority of people. But if there were no mobile phones, if there was no internet connectivity, if the data was not affordable, then probably you would not come out with such things. See, every election you get to see something new happening. I think 2014, for the want of better phrase, a lot of people saw it as a lot of technology driven stuff being done. So whether it was use of technologies like 3D hologram or extensive use of mobile, even Chai Pe Charcha for that matter brought together internet, mobile, satellite, all put together. So yes, use of technology was a major big thing, plus the use of social media. Because it was happening for the first time, most people, most politicians, parties, they did not take it seriously to begin with. By the time they realized that it could be this powerful in terms of as a tool for engagement or influencing the public opinion, probably it was too late for them. Clippings, small videos, songs, etc., that also never has happened probably at that scale. Or the town halls like what you saw Mr. Modi speaking at SRCC, never before that has happened in Indian political history or campaigning, when a potential prime minister as a challenger has come and is speaking to college students in the manner in which he did.
मैं जब गुड गवर्नेंस की चर्चा करता हूं तो मैं अपने मॉडल की बात करता हूं तो मैं कहता हूं P2G2, pro people, good governance.
Another big campaign and a new format was which was not that much written and talked about was Manthan, where more than 2,000 colleges participated, not only proposing what should be the top priorities for an incumbent government, but also presented their solution. And Mr. Modi, as a challenger at that time, sat through that in Tyagaraja Stadium 7 hours, which was never ever seen or heard in history of Indian campaigning.
कुछ लोग मुझे सवाल पूछते विजन क्या है? ये विजन है.
Again, because it was at the beginning of the campaign, so there was probably on a relative basis less media frenzy about Mr. Modi, so it was less reported, but it was one of the most powerful campaign centered around youth, and would have created a lot of goodwill and buzzword for Mr. Modi. The campaign could have many layers. It's like an Air Force, Army and Navy. So you could see our what we were doing in 2014 and what we would have done. Well, it could be akin to what Air Force does. You just go bombard, create an environment for army to move in. And the political party is the army that moves in on the ground with the cadre, the supporters, those who are the candidates, their own teams. In state elections, you have to be much more closer to the grassroots. So you are more involved also beyond this doing high level atmosphere building thing. You also have to help the MLA's candidate, training their booth level cadres, equipping their own teams to be much more organized, media savvy or social media friendly, that kind of stuff. Also depends from party to party, because there might be certain capacity that exists within the rank and file of BJP, which may or may not exist in some other party, say Congress or a JDU. So you also have to tailor what you want to do, and what level of work you end up doing actually is a factor of what capacity already exists in the party. In general, there is a greater acceptability of the fact that beyond traditional means, whatever is available that could aid your campaign or your communication or your engagement with masses, should be and could be used, and that's why so much of talk about social media, technology, telephone, which otherwise would not be used as extensively as being used now. But that's also primarily function of electorates having those tools with them. If, for example, if electorates do not have mobile phone, how can you use technology? Because technology is much more available in the hands of people. If data is cheap, there is greater degree of acceptability for short videos and communicate with vast majority of people. But if there were no mobile phones, if there was no internet connectivity, if the data was not affordable, then probably you would not come out with such things. If television is the medium which people are using, then you have to have a campaign which is using television as a medium to deliver your message. If mobile is what people are using, then you have to use mobile. If people move to something else, then naturally parties and the candidates have to move on those platforms as well. Largely what people look in a candidate, parties look in candidate is someone who is able to add to what exists as a party support base. So if there are 100 votes that a candidate gets, the candidate's own contribution probably would be 5%, 10%, 15%, not more than that. So a stronger candidate probably would contribute 20% of the total vote he gets on his own. So naturally party look for candidates who can add to the support base and the vote which party or the leader would get otherwise. That should be and that could be a function of your reputation, your caste, your ability to mobilize things on the ground, your resources, all things, or maybe a combination of these things, and that probably plays the major part in selection of any candidate. You know, money does not make you win elections. What happens is we see a lot of leaders who optically look rich, but and then we start making this perception that to become a leader you need to be rich. But most of them, actually when they became leader or when they started becoming a leader, they were not rich. So that tells me that to become a leader you don't necessarily need to be rich. In fact, it's other way around, because vast majority of your electorates are not rich. Being rich is actually counterproductive. But it's a completely other thing that you, after becoming leader, you could become rich. A political campaign war room is nothing but like your office or my office. What you see on television as a war room, quote unquote, is nothing but the call center. You know, you see a lot of people in front of computer screens making calls. Actually, they are probably at the bottom of the hierarchy of all those who are part of the campaign. But because it makes a good visuals, people go to those offices and say, here is the war room of XYZ. They are nothing but basically the call center. Because if you come to my office, it would not make a great visual. I'm just sitting in front of my table, or for that matter, anyone who is managing election, that would not give you a great visual. This is more of a creation of television than reality. Elections are not managed from those call centers, quote unquote, which are termed as war rooms. And those who are managing elections, they are sitting in rooms, hotel rooms, office rooms, or party offices, or their houses. Those rooms are as good or bad as any other office in any other profession. A year's time should be good enough. If you want to do a thorough preparation, 9 months, 12 months is good enough. But official campaign period is about 14 days. But you know, the last 14 days, the time is not good enough for someone to build infrastructure, acceptability, reach out to everyone. Last 14 days is the campaign, which is the official time period designated for the campaign, is actually just to close things, just to touch all the elements that you would have built in your candidature. I think largely people would like to connect with all their constituents, personally or in person or otherwise. They would like to definitely remind them what all the work, whatever work they would have done. They would also like to reach out to those who they think could be aggrieved for some reason or other. They would like to use this time to build the foot soldiers, identify them, train them, and all these things probably could be done. If you want to do a thorough job, 6 to 9 months, ideally a year. Yeah, even for emotive issue to get a traction, you need arithmetic on the ground. If I were to go to a place where no one is there to listen to me, then what emotional issue I can play? So arithmetic, caste, your support base, whatever you want to call it, you need to have it to place anything. It's like bandwidth. The supporter base, whether it is because of caste, because of your party, because of your ideology, that need to be there. Then only you can play any issue, whether it's a developmental issue or quote unquote emotive issue, but that base need to be there. So if you do not have a base, no matter how much, which issue you place, there is no recipient. Most exciting part of election is when you set the agenda, when you contribute in what leader promises to the masses, that this is what I'm going to deliver if I am to be elected. So that's most exciting and satisfying, because you see that you are, with your work, you are able to reach, you are able to bring change, or you are able to affect lives of millions in a manner that would last beyond elections, and hence that is the most exciting part.